れ様です。4日目
お疲れ様です。
Best in Show Special. I'm your host, Jared Huckabee. We've
さ
had
て
three great
IAE ショ
episodes
ー
of
の
the
エピソ
IAE
ード
Show
4、
so
こ
far.
れが
I
最後
hope
に
you
なり
really
ますね。
enjoyed them.
IAE
We
シ
had
ョ
a
ー
lot of fun
のお
in
話
making
は。
them. On our last episode, our Best in
で、
Show
今
Special,
回
we
の
wanted to do
IAE ショ
something
ー
a
は
little bit
確
different.
か字
We
幕
wanted to
を
have
作
a
っている
one-on-one
感じ
chat
だ
with
と
a certified Star Citizen legend. So
声優さ
let
ん
me see
の
if
お
I can
話
give you the proper introduction.
でしたね。
So
ゲーム
this
内の
person
何かっていう
has
わけ
performed
で
in
はな
over
く、
30,000 commercials.
そうだね、今までその CIG が出してきた、まあ、船のコマーシャルだったりとか、あと IAE の時の、まあ、ちょっとしたストーリーがあるトレーラーみたいなものが毎年毎年公開されてるんですけど、まあ、そこに出てくる、まあ、ジャックスっていう
Welcome to the
キャラ
show.
クター
Jared,
の
it's really good to be here.
声
Thanks
優
very
さん
much
で
for
すね。
asking me.
Before we get started, let's just prove to
イギ
everybody
リス
you
の
are
方で
who we
結
say
構
you
有
are.
名な
Look
声
into
優
that
さんらしい
camera.
です
Give everybody an intro.
It's been a while. I've been away, of course, for a couple of years, haven't I? Let's see how we do. Okay. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo 2954. I'm your guest, Jax
なるほど
McCleary.
ね。
おい、滑らかな。
All right. We wanted you on the show for so long. It's been one of those things where, you know, Jax is such an integral part of the Star Citizen experience going back to 2014. So let's start things off before we get to meet Jax McCleary. Let's meet Jonathan Booth. Tell us, who are
結
you?
構イギ
What
リ
do you
ス
do?
It's a rather strange thing because I've been one of those strange creatures
いろ
called
ん
the
な
voiceover
ドラマとか
artist
にも出てるみ
for
た
the
いな
last
んで、
35 years. So I sit in a small studio and I read the words I'm given and they go to various
海
places
外
around
も
the
のを
world.
見る人は
But doing this, Jax
聞いたこ
McCleary
とあ
is
るの
really
か
the
もしれない
only
ですね。
performance stuff I've done. So it's a real honor and a privilege to be part of it. I really love it.
What are some of the things people might have heard you from or know you from?
他でなん
Here
か
in
聞
the
いたこ
UK,
とあ
I
るよ
just
う
say
な
if
感じす
you're
るね。
over 30, I guarantee you've heard my voice before because I've done lots of stuff on the BBC, the BBC Continuity it's called. So, you know, Graham Norton tonight at 10:40 on BBC One, things like that. So I've done lots of, as you say, lots of commercials, lots of broadcast documentaries, audiobooks, all sorts of things.
How did you get started in the industry?
I was a DJ on a radio station down in Brighton in the south of England, but wanted to branch out a bit more, so I started to write and voice radio commercials and got into that, did a lot more of that, and it sort of all came along from there.
All right, so let's get into it then. Jax made his first appearance in 2014
知る人ぞ
in
知るって感じ
Galactic
だね、
Gear
本当に。
Reviews the M50. Let's take a look.
10年前なんですね、この M50 っていうのが出たのが。
そうですね。でもこの M50 ってこれ未だにというか今現役でバリバリこれレース機なんですけど、PVP のそのドッグファイターにすごい愛されてるんですよね。もちろんレ
Tell
ー
me
ス
how
で
you,
も
how you came
活
to
躍してるんですけ
CIG. Now,
ど、
this was just
ドッグファイター
voiceover
で
at this
も本当
point.
にトップティ
2014,
ア
we
に
hadn't
入る
begun our era of PCAP
期待
yet.
にな
How
って
were
ま
you
すね。
approached? How did you
そう
get
で
the
すね。
role?
たま
Well,
に
it was strange. I got a
と
call
か、
saying
戦
you'd
闘
like to
系
come
の
and
ミ
do
ッシ
this.
ョンで
So
も出て
we
くるん
went
で
to a
すけど、
studio in
あ、
Soho,
NBC ね。
voice studio, which
は
I've
い、
been
そう
many
そうそう
times for
そ
other
う。
things.
追い
This
か
was
けるの
different
本
because
当
it
に
was
大
a
変で
great
す。
script, it was lots of fun, and we just wanted to try and make a larger in life character who's developing these stories about these ships for the people who were going to be flying them. And it was great. It was different to what I was doing before, so it was great fun.
What did they tell you about the project, about Star Citizen? What did you know going in?
I knew nothing going in. So it was completely new to me, and they opened up this whole world of how Star Citizen was being developed and who was going to be involved, and it just sounded really exciting. And so it was just great trying to sort of project that character.
There's a line in that commercial. I was still a backer at this point. I was still a fan of the project, and the line is an orgy of mind-bending numbers.
The stats are an orgy of mind-bending numbers.
When you had to read that line, did you think you'd still be here 10 years later?
I had no idea. I mean, you know what it's developed into, and the fun we've had with it has been, and the way that Jax has developed and where he's been, it's just remarkable. No, I had no idea that was going to happen, but I'm very grateful it has. It's been fantastic.
So there was no Jax in 2015. At this point, it was just a one-off commercial for the M50. In 2016, we created the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo as a theming for our annual anniversary event that happened every year. And with that, the idea to bring Jax back and make him part of this big event from its inception. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the videos from 2016.
Do you sense that electricity in the air? Do you smell those ionized particles? Do you feel your bowels loosening with a deep thrum from hundreds of thrusters firing at once? The really incredible thing about being here at the Intergalactic Aerospace Show is the unexpected surprises that sit idling around every
スターシーズ
corner.
のすごいところ
So
で
yeah,
さ
so this expanded Jax into a whole new world. What are
今
your
さ、出
memories
て
now?
たさ、
They called you
あの
back
コ
in
マーシャルみたいなさ、
2016, and this time
CG
it was going to
動画
be
あったじゃん。
performance capture.
はいはいはい。
Which I had no idea what that was. So I turned up at Elstree through those famous gates, amazing space, surrounded by cameras, sensors,
すごいよね、本
loads
当
of
この
people,
ゲーム
20, 30 people. And then I'm
そうですね。多
requested
分
to
再現映
put
像を
on
撮ろ
this
うと思えば撮れま
essentially
すよね。
large black
現代
condom.
で。
I have no idea, the most undignified thing that I can think of. And then they produce these amazing things with this stuff going on behind me, which is extraordinary. Of course, we didn't see it then, because the technology
これ
then,
今じゃ
now
結
it's
構当たり
live,
前
we
に
can
な
all
って
see
る
it
モー
as
ショ
we're
ンキャプ
doing
チャーの
With
技
the
術で
sheer
すけど、
size and scale of the
8年前
aerospace
って
expo,
結構
it can
珍
be
しか
easy
っ
to
たん
get
じゃないですか
overwhelmed
ね。
by all there is to see and do.
But then it was, a very iterative process.
ちょ
So
う
at
ど
this
あれ
point,
だ
you've
もん
now
ね
done
VR
eight
とかが
more
流行り
videos
始めたぐ
with
らい。
different manufacturers,
ああ、
Aegis,
そのぐらい
Mist,
か。
Drake. What context
しか
did they
も
give
それ、
you for
まあ、
this?
かな
Do
り
you
限
have a
定的な
sense
状
of
態
where you're
で
at, or are you just
VR
doing what everybody tells you?
To a certain extent, I'm doing that because I'm just trying to
ですよ
hold
ね
on here. I think
本
I
当に
am
まだ
flying,
動けな
as
い、
Jax quite
見る
often
だけ
is,
の
I'm flying by
VR
the
み
seat
た
of
い
my
な。
pants in a
そうそう
space where you haven't got that much to
ちょうど
react. Well, you've got
で
nothing to react to because it's
ち
just
ょ
a
っと
big
研
cube.
究
And
を
so I'm
始
having to
め
try and
た
imagine where the
ぐらい
ships are and react to them and trying to hold all that in my head is
研究室にちょうど
is quite
VR
hard.
の
Let's move to
ヘッドギアが
2017. In
そういうぐらい
2017, just
Hi,
one
hi,
video,
hi, hi.
just one video came back for the release
Oh,
of the
my God.
Aegis Hammerhead,
Oh, I'm-
one of the fan favorite ships still to
Yeah,
this
what
day,
does
one
he
of,
got
one
for
of our more popular releases.
初めて
Every day, well, every day they're not getting shot at, Alfonso EVAs across the entirety of this 100-meter long Aegis Hammerhead to visually inspect the dozens of guns and missile launchers that make this patrol ship such a formidable foe. Optics, targeting systems, mount connections, head threading, even lubrication levels all must be checked, rechecked, and meticulously
まだ
maintained.
もうちょっと
Basically,
昔
all the
の
worst
CG
parts of operating really big and powerful
そう
両
guns.
現 CG
What do you
が
remember of this? Was this
確かに。
still back at Imaginarium?
でも今の
Where
ゲー
did
ム
we
内
do
が
the Hammerhead?
これぐらいだった
I
よ
think we might have still been at Imaginarium
う
for that one.
ん。
実際にプレイできるゲー
In
ム
the
内が
next
そうですね。
year to Nottingham to do it there. But
下手したら
again,
ち
the
ょっといい
same
ぐらい。
where the studio
さっ
is
きの
wasn't
映像よ
necessarily
り。
the issue. The
そうですね。画
volume
質を
was
設
there
定
and
次第に
the,
や
and the whole
やっては
universe traveled with us.
綺麗
As
かも
we
しれない
went.
ですね。
So
ゲーム
in
の方が。
2018, Jax took a break and we got Kabuki Theater. Me and John Crew and so many other people. Less talked about that, the better. So we're going to take a break here right now. While we do, we're going to play something. You actually auditioned for 4 additional commercials before we
ちなみ
landed
に
on
ね、
Jax. We found
今まで
the
私が
original
上げてき
footage.
た
We're
ゲー
going
ム
to
プ
play
レイ
it
の
for
動画とかっ
backers
て
right now.
結
So
構
stay
ね、
tuned. We'll be right
動
back
画
with
がもっ
part
さ
2
り
of our
してるんで
interview
すけど、
with Jonathan Booth.
最近その 4.0 にしてからかなり綺麗になった。特にそのフレームレートもだいぶ良くなって、
Did you know he auditioned for other
非常に
legendary
綺麗に
startups
映る
and
ようになった
commercials
ん
as
で、
well?
これから
We've
の
unearthed
動
the
画
following
の
footage
ク
as
オ
a
リティも上がる
fascinating
な
look
と
at what might have
思って
been.
ます。
If someone were to ask you, what
次の
is
動画撮り
speed?
たいなってワクワク
What
し
would
てる
you
んです
tell
けど、
them? Is it
見比
simply
べた
a
ら
measure
結構
of
びっくり
distance
しますよ
covered
ね。あれ
over
同じゲー
time?
ムかっていうぐらい。
I mean, that's exactly
全然
what
綺
I'm
麗
saying
ですね
here.
今
Legendary fighter pilot Aria Riley once said, "Give me a fully loaded Hornet, and I'll shake the gates of heaven." Yes, assuming I don't crash into an asteroid first. Remember, this is 2014. A comm comes over the spectrum with a job. All it says is an amount of cargo, a delicate
フリーランサー
timetable,
のコマーシャ
and a
ル。
risky route. Unless it's second-class junior cartographer Tessa Bannister. She was in charge of all the ICC scans, and I miss her. Every great dance needs someone to lead, someone to follow, and someone to tango.
I'm not entirely convinced every one of those auditions were real. We're back, everybody, with part 2 of our interview with Jonathan Booth. 2019, Jax made his triumphant return with his next evolution from Galactic Tour to Whitley's Guide. This was assisted by the addition of our marketing cinematics team, and to take Jax to new and better heights. After a year off, did you think you were done with Jax? Were you excited to get the call again?
I missed him. I did. So it was great to get the call again and to come back in with a whole new universes and ships to discover. So it was great to get back.
Let's take a look at this next evolution of Jax McCleary here.
This is in fact not an Anvil Pisces,
Well,
but a true
yeah, we
scale
can't
remote
really-
controlled replica. It's accurate down to the last
次
detail.
吹き返してみた
I've
い
been told it's very expensive. So, naturally, we're going to attempt to blow it up because we're borderline obsessively committed to putting the galaxy's best gear to the test. For you. Anyhow, I'm sitting here in a Kruger Archimedes. It may be a snub craft, but when you top out at 1,340 meters
こ
per
れコンス
second,
タレーショ
well,
ンにくっつく
no
スナブだ
quantum drive, no problem.
の一個上だったかな確か。
Even this
マー
year's
リンがくっついてるは
IAE
ず
food
なん
court
で、
is
Constellation
embracing the
Mine.
esoteric
そう
offerings
ですね。
of
もう
our
一ランク
non-human
上の
brethren.
やつですね。
Take this. What is it again, Jimmy?
They said it was pickled corpse bug.
All right. Pickled corpse bug. Well done,
吉田
Hatch.
ピクルス漬け。
でも
Let's go
今
take a
パイ
look.
ロで食べれますよね。
Right away, we see
Yes,
Jax
that's-
is more chaotic than he was in the past. Was this something new? Was this an evolution of the character, or do you think this was always there underneath, waiting to be revealed?
I think he always had a
ちょっとね、
predilection
まあ
for trying to
最
be
近
you
も
know,
すでに
different and
4.0 遊ん
to
でるん
shake
で
the
すけ
system.
ど、
And
私とルルカさんはま
I
だ
think
パイロ
as he got to this point, he felt
まあわ
he
ざ
was
と
able
言
to
っ
get
てな
away
く
with it
て、
more. He felt he was a
た
star.
だ
He
一
felt
回
he
だけ
could
ちょっとね
pretty much get away with anything.
そう
And
事件がありまし
so,
て。
so that's what sort of took it a
言
little
ったん
bit
です
further
けど、
down the
まあ
road.
とりあえ
So you're
ず
back in the
簡単に言うと
full
アパロ
body
イドさんが
condom, as you
間
called
違
it,
っ
the very
て犯
flattering
罪を犯してしまった
outfit.
ので、アパロ
You've
イド
done
さ
this
んをパイロ
before.
に捨て
Now
てき
you've
たってい
returned
う
for another
ストーリー
multi-part
が広い
series.
とあります
Were you better at it? Were you more
なんでど
comfortable
うですか
with it?
ア
How
パさ
did your
ん、もう
performance
虫食べ
change
ました
after a year off?
Yeah, I think I was more comfortable with it. I think the technology also improved when we first did it back, 10 years ago. The helmet was incredibly heavy, and the lights that came round and the microphones and the dots you had to put on the face were more. So it was much more easier to move around, and the helmet was lighter, so you could have a lot more freedom of movement, and you could see a bit more rather than having the lights right in front of your
まあ
face.
仕方ない
You
よ
could
ね
actually see what was going on.
う
So it
っか
was
りうっ
easier.
かり
And
セ
one
キ
of
ュリ
the
ティ
signature
ね
elements
や
of
っちゃ
this
ったからね
2019 Whitley's Guide Evolution
ヒ
was the
ュ
introduction of
ー
Jimmy.
さんとエルカさんにちょっと入手してもらいました。
Close.
年明け
But no cigar,
4.0
Jimmy.
プレイする頃には迎えに行く
When
よ
you found out you were going to have a
Sure.
sidekick now, what were your thoughts on Jimmy? What was it like working with Jimmy?
Jimmy's great. Jimmy's he's a fantastic character, and he's a real gentleman. He's a good guy, and I think he's really only turns up to make Jack look bad, which is what he does effectively. He's the good guy.
Jax came back again in 2020 and 2021. Let's take a look at some of those videos.
Jimmy, the blindfold. I thank you. Here it comes. It's a javelin. No, Idris. Idris! Sir! I'll just do a little bit of that at the bottom. Finish that off. There we go. Jack Cleary. Ha! I mean, the cannons on those Ares models. Was that like a size 7? That is
そう
nuts.
このヘルメット
Absolutely
してるキャ
insane.
ラクターが
Raw
一切
power.
喋らないジミーっていうキャラクターですね
Couldn't have put it better myself, mate.
So these episodes had to be
Yeah, how-
produced
how
during
no
the
ease.
pandemic.
Yeah, yeah.
How did that change the experience?
It was fascinating because I thought, well, they're not going to be able to do it. But it was handled so well. All the procedures were in place, all the safety was in place, and we all had the masks and the various things, and we did things in iterative processes. So it was handled very well, but it was challenged. So it took us a little bit longer to do, but we still got it done.
And then, of course, in 2021, a bit more of a personal story began to develop. We started seeing Jax question himself a little bit more. I wrote it down, do some serious soul searching before he eventually steals an Odyssey prototype and take off into parts unknown. Were you excited about this change in his behavior?
I was, because he's really starting to sort of, as you say, a bit of self-doubt, a bit of sort of, is this the right thing for me, and am I doing the right thing? And then when he paints the roof with the Redeemer, I think it is, and then he decides, no, I've had enough of this, and off he goes. So very exciting, character narrative arc.
Was there any correlation between you've now been doing this since 2014, thinking like, how much longer can I go on? Do I want to do something different with the character?
He's got so many ships to play with and so many new things to do, but he's got to find new systems, find new people to play with, and just see whether that's the way he wants to go. But I think, he does miss, he misses Jimmy, I think.
And then in our final year of Jax in 2022, we find out where Jax went. Jax is lost in the pyro system. Let's take a look at some of these videos here.
Bob! Would a call have killed them? Oh, hey, Jax, do you want to come back, host the show? I'm sorry, Jax can't take your call because he's dead. God, it's like, I do know my way around an 890, and since your hideout's a derelict origin super yacht, I may as well take advantage, so... Whoa, no need to resort to fisticuffs to decide whose Aegis ship is the better. So, folks, Ruined Station is about as big as it is creepy. Maybe we can find a ship to stow away.
字幕入ってないですね、これから。
まあまあ映像だけでもお楽しみください。
I would have been dead. But if Bob and the crew hadn't swooped in, we'd both be ink spots on the Ruined Station pavement. I owe both of you big time.
Don't mention it. Now strap in, boys. It's a long way to the jump point.
When you read that for a script, Jax is dead. Did you know that Jax wasn't really dead? What did they tell you ahead of time?
They didn't tell me. I think this is what happens in movies. They don't tell the actors what's actually happening. You don't know. I thought, oh well, maybe Jax, has died. They're obviously getting in new people. They're getting in new presenters for the show. So that's it. So it was great to find out that he wasn't dead. He was sitting in a squalid bedsit in the pyro system and saw on the television that he was going to get replaced and said, that's it. I'm coming back. I'm not having that.
So Jax's story evolves here. Stewardship of Jax has passed from different directors at the time. You've been with tremendous folks like Josh and David Roth and Kat over the years, bringing Jax to a new place throughout Pyro System. Your story is dramatically different now. You're working with criminals. You're getting into trouble here, and this is your first shoot here.
This was the first shoot here in Manchester, this fantastic facility here. So that was amazing. Bigger volume, more people, more things, and lots more physical stuff as well. Ducking behind things, and there's lots more pieces of real things on the sets that you can interact with. And great, and it was great to work with new characters as well. Bob, I didn't treat Bob very well. I stole her ship, so that wasn't very nice. But great to work with them, and a lot more exciting things for Jax to do.
Now, at the end, Jax has stolen his ship. We leave him tumbling, unknowingly in the pyro system.
Yeah.
We haven't been able to pick up Jax's story since then. Our wonderful marketing cinematics team, they went to work on finishing out Squadron. If you guys watched that amazing Squadron playthrough at CitizenCon, you know where their efforts have been, and that they've been well spent. But I wanted to ask you, where do you think Jax's story goes?
We've left him, as you say, tumbling through space. We don't know, whether he and Jimmy are going to get through this. But obviously they are, because Jax and Jimmy are always going to come back somehow. To where? Well, it could be interesting. There's so many different places to explore. It'd be great to see Jax come back and reclaim his rightful place in front of the camera and telling everybody about the ships, flying the ships and experiencing it for everybody and finding new experiences. It'd be great.
Got to come back and shake that with this guy producer.
Yeah, I think...
No, there's only one host with this guy.
I think there's only one Jax McCleary, and she needs to know that.
So we're pretty much at the end of our journey for now anyway. How would you summarize your overall experience as Jax?
It's been a huge privilege to be part of this universe. It has been fantastic to work with such an incredibly talented team of people, technicians and actors and producers and directors. And I just hope that I've sort of held up my end, as it were, and done what's needed to be done. But it's just fantastic to be part of. It's been a great privilege.
I think I speak for everybody when I say we all love Jax. He's the most prolific character in the Star Citizen universe right now. Every year there's a call for Jax to return, and at some point the stars will align. We'll be able to continue Jax's story, and that's all very important to us. So thank you so much for coming up. Thank you so much for agreeing to be here, for sharing some stories, and I hope to see you back in the, what was it, the full body condom?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. It's got to be done.
Warts.
It's got to be done. Yeah.
We've now said that 3 times. I'm sure we probably could have gotten away with it once, but we've said it 3 times.
Oh dear. Well, it's been a great privilege to be here and to talk to you, Jared. It's been fantastic.
Before we go, let's send everybody home with a proper Jax farewell, shall we?
I just want to say, from the bottom of Jax's black heart, thanks very much for watching all these years, and I promise Jax will return. For now, have a great IAE, and this is Jax McCleary, signing off.
Jax McCleary, didn't we leave him in a Corsair in Pyro somewhere? I mean, that's a Drake ship. You guys know how Drake ships are built. He's gonna explode. It can't hold up those solar flares.
Did Jax and Jimmy end up in some outpost somewhere? I'm pretty sure the people that captured them were like big Whitley's fans, and you know they're just going to be making them kind of repeat shows night after night in some sort of like Groundhog Day.
I think Jimmy and Jax are marauding with Bob's pirate crew. He was the guy in the yellow suit all along, right?
Duh, he's on his farm.
Didn't Whitley send like their crew over to try and produce the show from Pyro?
Blow your goddamn head off!
Pyro's probably just killed them and carried on.
Hey, if you don't have to glow today, don't.
No, really. His body's probably floating dead in the void, bloated and frozen, or his body's being picked clean by a copian.
Oh, he's cleaning up the mean streets of Lawville.
I got it. Jax McCleary, Valakar Hunter.
いや
早くやりたいなこれ。
やりたい。でももう結構近いと思いますよ、これ実装は。
Put him on the hot seat, change the channel.
How long do we have to sit here?